Well, they say the little mathematical context to the spill size can put the environmental catastrophe in perspective. Viewing it through some lenses, that is, it isn't that huge.
When BP CEO Tony Hayward said the Deepwater Horizon oil spill was, in his words, relatively tiny, he had a point, and factually, he was correct. It depends, however, on the comparisons one chooses in describing the spill. Since the BP oil rig exploded on April 20th, as much as 125 million gallons of oil has gushed into the Gulf. Compare that with the mighty Mississippi River. It pours that much water into the Gulf every 38 seconds. If the oil were poured on a football field, complete with end zones, it would measure nearly 100 yards high. If you put the oil in gallon milk jugs and line them up, they would stretch about 10,800 miles. That's a round trip from the Gulf to London, BP's headquarters, and a side trip from New Orleans to Washington for Hayward to testify.
It is a tragedy.
Cute comparisons aside, 125 million gallons is a lot of oil. Or is it? Convert it to gasoline, which is what Americans mostly use it for, and you'd have 58 million gallons of gas. That's the amount Americans burn every 3 hours and 41 minutes. Another way to compare the size of the spill is against dollars. BP has spent nearly $55 million lobbying federal officials in Washington since 2000. That's about 44 cents for every gallon of oil it has spilled. But another big number also offers some troubling news. Hayward recently said the leaking reservoir is believed to hold about 2.1 billion gallons of oil. That leaves about 2 billion gallons left to spew, if it hasn't stopped. Lee Powell, The Associated Press.
The AP tours a sandwich restaurant that is continually hoisted to the top of the World Trade Center construction site. This as workers build new floors.
Would you like it toasted?
From the inside, this Subway sandwich shop looks and tastes like most you've seen. But as sandwich maker Ryan Sabio tells it, this one is not the same.
I feel like I'm filling in the part of somewhat part of history here.
Foot long, please.
Chris Connolly, a construction worker, has his own take on it.
It's a bit weird. It's different.
What is different is where this fast food restaurant is located. It is at the top of the most famous construction project in the world, the rebirth of One World Trade Center. The only way to get up here is through a series of ladders. The restaurant is in a cargo container attached to a hydraulic lift.
So it all rises up level. Takes about 2 hours to get it up a floor.
And as the tower cranes are jumped each week to the next level, the Subway restaurant and all the containers, the restrooms, the offices, the change shanties, they all get jacked up also.
It will follow workers now on the 24th floor all the way to the top, the 104th.
Subway!
Franchise owner Richard Schrager has arranged for the food and water to be hoisted up with cranes. Like a remote campsite, all food waste is composted using sawdust and worms, and liquid waste is boiled in this machine until it evaporates.
It saves everybody time, and hopefully the building can be completed, on schedule or even earlier than scheduled with the employees, with the construction crew not having to go down to eat lunch.
The view up here is inspiring and will only get better.
Cold cuts in the clouds. This has to be the most unique and noisiest lunch in New York City.
The most popular sandwich up here is the chicken teriyaki, which ironworker Leon Lambert has for lunch every day.
Excellent. Excellent. All I have to do is just walk down and that's it.
But One World Trade Center will say goodbye to these sandwiches in the sky once construction is complete. The building owners hope to bring in a fancier restaurant to take permanent residence at the top. Ted Schaffer, The Associated Press, New York.